Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 10 of this SMA GT500 Championship. This is the penultimate race in the 2016 Group 2 cars, and just 3 left overall, with the special event to follow in the last round to complete the season. Once again, it was Levitius who dramatically overtook Diki in the final embers of the last race at Spa to make it 7 wins from 9, and a win today will almost certainly confirm him as SMA champion of Season 1. I guess only time will tell if that comes to fruition. However, for now, it is now time to introduce your main presenter of SMA, myself, Flawed Genius Gaming, and my amazing sidekick, the unmistaken Scotsman, which luckily you can't see him being free as a bird, waving around in his kilt. The legendary podcaster from the stars of SMA, Hugh Hatrick. Good evening to you, Hugh, and how are you today?
Well, that was a fantastic introduction, Sean. I'm very well indeed, and enjoying wearing my imaginary kilt. But I hope all the viewers and all the drivers are doing well today. We're looking forward to a fantastic race. It's getting towards the end of the championship, and what a championship it has been. But here at the Nürburgring, which is a very difficult circuit, very challenging, definitely looking forward to an exciting race, and we'll have to see what happens.
Yes, indeed. SMA is sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven for all your high-end sim goodies. Your number one place for all your sim racing requirements. Link is in the description below, and go onto their website, simulatorcave.com, for all your simulator needs. SMA is also sponsored by TGSC Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfing students to reach their full potential. And also proudly associated with MSA, Motorsport South Africa, partnered by the FIA, the only place for official leagues in South Africa. So I guess it's time to find out what's in store for round 10 tonight. Hugh, take it away with the details, please.
Yes, it's amazing. It's round 10 already of our 12-week season in the SMA GT500 Championship. And today we are in Germany for a visit to the Nürburgring in its Grand Prix configuration. That's it. Now, the track is 5.148 kilometers long, and there are 15 corners. And as I said earlier, we are in Germany. So, what are the drivers going to be faced with today? The race duration is 29 laps with a 10-minute qualifying session, and the starting grid will be with a false start check. Now, they have to use both tyres, the softs and the hards. Well, they can use the mediums as well, but they have to use the softs and the hards. The fuel consumption is ×3, and is the tyre wear also ×3. So it's going to be tricky because those tyres take a little bit to settle in. I was practicing with them today, and it took a little while, a few laps, to really get them going, even on the soft tyres. But thankfully we have good weather, nice blue skies over the race today, so we don't have to worry about any rain or anything like that. So it'll be 29 laps, and it's going to be very exciting. Let's have a look at the cars. We've got the Lexus RFC from 2016, the Honda NSX from 2016, and also the Nissan GT-R from 2016. The Honda is supposed to be the meta car, but so far Levitius has proven that he can get that Nissan in front. But will it be like last week, then we had this phenomenal race between Dicky and Levitius? We'll have to wait and see. But whatever is for sure, this is a really challenging track, but there are great overtaking opportunities. So, Sean, how did the races fare in last week's round at Spa?
Yes, good question. Yes, so the story of round 9 at Spa saw Levitius record yet another victory but had to rely on a late penalty from Dickey, who had been leading for a large portion of the race, eventually recovered from an earlier mistake to take the checkered flag and claim his 6th win in a row and his 7th win of the season to extend his lead at the top even further. But it was great to see Dickey back on form and unlucky not to grab what would have been only his 2nd win of the season, just failing at the last hurdle with 2 laps remaining, having to concede and accept 2nd position. It was also fantastic to see VSR Giller officially marking his first podium on merit to finish in 3rd position. The week before, he was actually handed a 3rd due to penalties after the race that had promoted him to that very position. We got to speak to him for the very first time in the interview room. Then in 4th, and one of the comebacks of the season, it was VSR's Wolfie, who had been handed a quali ban for round 9, started from the back and rose up 10 positions in the race for one of his finest performances to date. He was followed by an equally impressive performance from TNR's Papaya Racer, who had also been given a quali ban for the round, rose up 8 positions from the initial 13th on the grid to finish in 5th position. And producing his best result of this season, it was TNR's Captain Slow, who finished in an impressive 6th position ahead of VSR's Richard, who made a brave call with the wet tyres, or it might have been the inters, in trying to make the overcut, but got caught out with the ever-changing conditions and had to settle for 7th position. Continuing his fine form, it was Puma's Neil, who had finished in a respectable 8th position and equaling his best result in Tier 1. It was MGR Kennels in 9th, who certainly made up for the problems he experienced in the round previously. And in 10th, it was TNR's Whipperman, finishing ahead of Puma's Mac for 11th, and the last driver to finish was TNR's Latari Racing for 12th position, as both VSR drivers in JDJ and Fish experienced technical problems and subsequently retired from the race. So this means the standings after 9 rounds sees Levitius extend his lead to 45 points over teammate Dickey. As mentioned, if Levitius wins today, although not completely mathematically secured, he is as good as crown champion, but just really dependent on where Dickey is positioned at the end of this race, as any further down from 4th, Levitius will be crown champion of the SMA Season 1. Things are certainly looking a bit tighter though behind Dickey though, as there's a 30-point swing from 3rd to 7th. VSR Richard holds 3rd on 3,108 points, with his teammate Wolfie a further 15 points behind in 4th, and just 5 points ahead of both TNR Papaya Racer and VSR JDJ, tied for 5th with 3,088 points. VSR Giller is 10 points behind in 7th with 3,078 points. A further 40 points behind, we find VSR Fish in 8th, just 6 points in front of Puma's Nil, making a late surge up the table into 9th. Puma's Mac is in 10th, just 2 points in front of TNR Whipperman, who occupies 11th, and Captain Slow, with a fine result last time out, closing the gap to within 8 points of teammate Whipperman with 3,005 points. 12 points further back is TNR Latari Racing in 13th, with MGR Kennels hot on his heels, 8 points further back in 14th. Today is the crunch race for many of the drivers in this championship, so best of luck to everyone out on circuit. But Hugh, how is the conditions looking out there for the drivers? Over to you, Hugh.
Well, it's a lovely dry race. We can see blue skies and a nice dry track. And many of the drivers, I think, will be using the racing softs to get the most out of the circuit, although they've got to use the racing hards as well. But it looks like conditions will be pretty decent, and they can enjoy 29 laps of sunshine and hot weather. But the cars, I'm sure, will be kind of adapting to these, especially with the tyres, getting the best out of them, so that we can see these drivers do very fast qualifying laps as we'll be going into qualifying very soon. But yes, there's so much to play for, and as you look at those championship points from 3rd to 7th, there's next to nothing in it. Will we see Dicky manage to overcome Levitius and get a victory, or will it be somebody completely different who's in the championship tier 1 and ready to get a victory or get on the podium? But certainly you can see the tension has been building up. The drivers are getting faster and more competitive, and we've been really entitled to a fantastic championship so far, and I'm sure today will be no exception.
Yes, indeed. And just to welcome in everyone that's in chat right now. So we've got Kaylen in here, we've got Parquet, we've got Anne-Marie in here, and we've got Frank in here, and Johan as well. Welcome all of you to round 10 at the Nürburgring GP. Yeah, this is certainly crunch time for the drivers. Levitius could secure the SMA Season 1 Championship should he win the race, and Deaky, I don't know if it's 4th place, or certainly I know that 5th place and downwards, he will not be able to overturn the points overhaul between the two drivers in the championship. So we may well be celebrating the championship win for Levitius. We'll have to wait and see, because after this round there's only 2 races remaining, so we are certainly at the business end of SMA Season 1, and certainly can't wait for this one. But you know, in terms of like the championship though, there is quite a number of drivers in close proximity of each other, so just because Levitius is dominating right now doesn't mean that drivers won't be fighting for position, so it's definitely going to be a very exciting one. Papaya Racer, I'm actually expecting to hopefully start challenging at the top end of the grid, sorry. So we'll have to wait and see, but let us know in chat though who you're rooting for. I know there's lots of JDJ fans out there, and yeah, quite a number of TNR people out there as well that'll be winning on not just the likes of Levitius, but also the likes of Papaya Racer, DK, Whipperman, and Latari Racing, of course, as well. So yeah, let us know on your top 3 drivers, and we'll also be coming to you for your driver of the day after the race as well. So and also remember to hit that like button to really help out the algorithm of this YouTube channel, Sim Motorsport Association. And if you are new to the channel as well, make sure you do hit that subscribe button as well, as I fumble my words out there, because it really does help, and we really want to grow this channel as much as possible, especially with the MSA Cup coming up in the next month or 2, which is certainly going to be a glorious affair, showcasing the best South Africa drivers in GT7 with their pro licenses, of course, Hugh.
Yes, that's it. They can get their licenses ready, and then they're FIA approved, and they'll be wearing their green jackets potentially. So yes, lots to play for. It's just fantastic watching these drivers give it their best, giving us enthralling overtakes and racing. And when I was doing the practice earlier on today, it's going to be hard on tyres. When I was using the racing soft tyres today, they barely lasted. You know, maybe after about 6 or 7 laps, they were getting quite a lot of wear. So it's going to be interesting to see how long do they actually last in the race. And will that hard tyre be a choice? Will they end up using that a bit more or a bit longer, or will they try and use the racing soft for as much as possible? Also, fuel wear at times 3, it does make a bit of a difference, so they'll have to watch that. I wonder if the Nissan is maybe a bit heavier on fuel than the Honda, but we'll see what kind of strategies play out. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be close, and when qualifying starts, then we'll get an idea as to who's on top, who's got the pace, and who needs to up their game. But it's going to be exciting for sure.
Yes, indeed. Yes, you made a good point there, Hugh. Yeah, the tyres that the drivers are going to be using, all tyre compounds can be used, but it's the softs and the hards that are mandatory. So it's going to be interesting kind of not really knowing what the plan is for the drivers, as qualifying is just about to get underway. We've got a 10-minute qualifier ahead of a 29-lap race here at the Nürburgring in the GP configuration. So yeah, it's one of them circuits quite hard to pass on. The only obvious place that you'll probably see a lot of passes is down the actual straight leading up to turn 1, which can be interesting, and you can go like 3, sometimes even 4 wide for that corner. It's quite a beautiful corner, to be honest, but you know, apart from that, really, unless a driver does make a mistake, it is quite hard to pass at most parts of this circuit. So yeah, certainly I think qualifying is going to be very, very important here, Hugh. But you know, what are your experiences of this particular circuit, and is this a circuit that you like?
I do like it, but I'm not very good at it. I can, depending what kind of class of car it's in, I'm not too bad in Group 3. I find the trickiest thing is the amount of curves, because many of the corners you can use quite a bit of curves, but even turn 1, because it's at an angle and it's quite off camber, it's very easy to spin the car out. And then I think it's at turn 4, again, you can use a lot of curve there, but then that can also slide the car a wee bit if you use too much. So yeah, watching out for penalties and really just maximising the width of the track here is absolutely critical. But it is quick. But once you get that line and that rhythm, you can go very, very fast here. So it'll be interesting to see how many drivers can really compete at the top today, because I don't think there's going to be that much in it. It's been getting very close in qualifying. I think really literally between 5 and 8/10 of a second covering really the top 10, which is pretty close, and in some cases it's even closer than that. So I think we're going to be really in for a very exciting qualifying. They're actually bunching up a bit in some of the field. I'm looking at Deacon, who is 10th at the moment, but they're just coming out to finish their out lap, and then they will start their first qualifying. So they're trying to get a bit of room in between each other, but will they get a bit of slipstream as well as they come through to do their first lap? No, it's a very, very challenging circuit, because you've got all this undulation, and they know it's going down, it's going up, and you've got kind of corners that have a little bit of banking, like the Schumacher curves, which are brilliant. It's always great fun going through them. But the last chicane, that is so bad, it's so tricky. You've got to make sure that you don't exceed track limits there, and get a very quick line, because if you get the wrong line, you can lose seconds. So we'll see what they can do today, but they're going to have to be on top form to get a good time here at the Nürburgring.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And good evening to Red Studio, or Ant. He's saying, good evening, I'm rooting for a close and exciting race. Good luck to all. We appreciate that, Ant, and yeah, we are hoping for a very close encounter here. Of course, very important for Deaky to try and get a race win here, to really stop Levi in his tracks. But we are on board with VSR Richard at the moment. He's just about to come around the final turn now, and we'll see what sort of times he can produce here, because do predict they'll be in the 1:42s as he comes across the line with a 42.1, Gillard with a 42.8, with JDJ moving up into P2 actually. So Gillard down to P3, and in fact Levitius, of course, the main man, setting the pole position time, and actually the first driver to get in to the 1:41s, 41.951 for him. So yeah, Levitius showing the class early doors in this qualifying session, and certainly he is the man to beat, with Deaky in P3 then with a 1:42.442, just a 10th quicker than JDJ in 4th. Galara, as I said, down into 5th, and Wolfie in 6th at the moment as well. Papaya Racer though, 8th position. That is a particular position I didn't expect Papaya Racer to be in, but we still got 6 minutes to go, so a long way ahead of us. But tyre wear not too extreme today, but I do suspect that once they've put in the hot lap that they'll probably come back into the pit lane to change onto new tyres, and in fact, actually, just something I noticed, Hugh, the default fuel looks like can be changed, because Fish that we're on board with now has got half a tank of fuel, so that's something I didn't notice prior to the race. But yeah, so far so good from the drivers. Levitius on pole position right now. But do you predict that anything can change in the second half of this qualifying, Hugh?
Well, Richard's only just over 2/10 behind. In fact, JDJ has just set a scintillating time there, and he's only 0.051, so a fraction in it. Although JDJ's, I think Levitius has just completed another lap, so there's 0.184 between first and second, and then there's 0.051 between second and third. In fact, it looks like it's just Deacon has just claimed pole position. He's got 2/10 ahead of Levitius with that lap that he's just done in the Nissan. So he is proving he's got a bit of time in there. Does he have any more? His soft tyres are looking pretty good. He's got half a tank of fuel. So yep, he's in a good position there to see maybe if he can do another lap. He's in a 1:41.751, which is a scintillating time indeed. Can Levitius reply to that, or any of the other drivers? But it is certainly close, and it's good to see some real competition out there.
Yes, indeed. And I do remember from the interview last week that Deaky said he did like this circuit. So I was hoping that he could really show his class and see what he's made of. And certainly in this early exchanges in qualifying, certainly showing that class right now. 0.2 of a second quicker than Levitius, who is, well, just under 0.2 of a second in front of JDJ in third position. Very, very close between JDJ and Richard, though. We are talking about half a tenth separating both drivers. And Papaya Racer has now moved up into fifth position. He has improved quite significantly with a 1:42.225, and that is 0.6 quicker than VSR Giller, who's in P6 right now. And JDJ has just come across the line to remain in P3, but he has improved by 0.1 of a second then. 1:42 flat for him, but still needs to find another tenth of a bit to overhaul Levitius. Deaky comes into the pits. Looks like he's going to go for one final run with about half a tank of fuel, so he's going to go for one final push. But can Levitius on this lap, can he overthrow him by the time Deaky comes back out onto circuit, Hugh?
Well, he's just put on a fresh set of tyres, his DK in pole position so far, so he wants to try and get the best out of that. Again, he's just under half a tank of fuel, so a great combination there. Hopefully the best combination for the drivers with as little fuel as they can get away with, and obviously and the best soft tyres. Although Deacon's gone off there, he's spinning his tyres. He doesn't want to stay off and get dirty tyres for too long. But is he going to rejoin the track? We'll have to wait and see. But he's still ahead by 0.2. JDJ has just come back into the pits, and of course using those soft tyres, but we'll have to see how they get on, because it's very, very close. And as they come to complete more laps, let's see where, if I can find Levitius. He is out there coming through the chicane now. He's coming to the last corner as he passes the pit lane entrance onto the start finish straight. It's looking very, very smooth there. What will Levitius do as he comes across the line to take pole position by 0.23 of a second? So once again he leads in pole position. Can Deacon or any of the other drivers come back him, Sean?
Well, unfortunately not, because Deaky is in the pits with JDJ, so Levitius will be on pole position unless any of the drivers behind. No, Papaya Racer quits as well. So Richard moves up into P3 with a 1:41.922, but it's certainly not good enough to overthrow Levitius. And I think, by judging on that I think Levitius will start on pole position. I don't think Giller is going to have enough time to come across the line. To be honest, great performance here from Latari Racing, though, up into 7th position. Not used to seeing him that high up, so certainly a very, very good performance from Latari Racing in qualifying with a 1:42.682. Yeah, we got Fish 1.2 seconds behind Levitius in 8th position, but again I don't think he's got enough time to complete his lap. In fact, I think, yeah, it may well be a wasted journey for many of the drivers on circuit. So certainly Levitius holds the advantage over Deaky then for the start of the race. But of course, with such a wide entry point going into turn one, things can change in an instant at the start of the race, Hugh.
Yes, that I think probably here more than anywhere else, we could well see some places change at turn one. As you say, it's such a wide entrance, but then it kind of narrows up, and also it's off camber, and if you get the wrong line, then you could be in real trouble. Will people race down the outside, or will they try and take the inside line? We're about to find out, as the race will be starting very, very soon, and 29 laps with a false start check as well, so they'll need to be careful. But it's great to see these GT2 cars starting from a grid start, not a rolling start. It's something maybe they're not used to, but our drivers in this championship have had, this is their 10th attempt, so plenty of experience. And we've not really seen too much action from the first corners in previous races. So will we get something here, Sean? I think we just might.
Maybe, but the classified results from qualifying in round 10 at Nürburgring GP. Levitius will be starting from the front row on pole position with that phenomenal time of a 1 minute 41.521, 2/7 ahead of his teammate Deaky, who's going to be starting alongside him in second position. On row 2 we got VSR Richard, who will be starting next to VSR JDJ for the battle of row 2. Row 3 will be Papaya Racer with VSR Wolfie, oh god, side by side, starting on row 3 with row 4 Latari Racing and VSR's Fish starting on row 4. On row 5 we got VSR Galara, or Gila, and starting alongside him will be Puma Racing Neil from 10th position. Then on row 6 we've got Kennels, and TNR Captain Slow will be starting alongside him in 12th position. And then on row 7 we've got TNR Whipperman starting from P13, and alongside him it'll be Puma Racing Mac starting from 14th. So yeah, it is a fascinating race indeed, and times are reasonably close together as well. So certainly one mistake can catch the drivers out. As we've got Bryn actually changing the settings. So I think we are going to be starting very, very shortly. But yeah, certainly going to be fascinated with the race start. Will we see a few late maneuvers down the inside or even around the outside? It's going to be very, very interesting. And Deaky, he really does need to make it count if he is going to at least delay Levitius winning the championship. But yeah, certainly going to be a fascinating one. And welcome in everyone that's in chat. Tuzan, welcome. He's saying Lev is too clutch. We've got Cross in here, or I'm going to call him CJ actually. CJ, welcome in. We've got Julius in here. We've got Sir Mags in here. We've got Vessel in here. We got Double DP in here as well. So welcome everyone, and let us know how you got on in your races as well. Always interested to know how everyone's got on throughout the tiers. So let us know in chat, and hopefully you got a really good result, if not a race win. And also as well, make sure you do smash that like button as well if you haven't already done so. We would love to push that YouTube algorithm for the SMA channel to really reach out to other audiences out there on YouTube. So but really appreciate the support, and really hope that we see a great race on show today, Hugh.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see one of the best races we've had yet. There's not much in it in terms of qualifying, and with that false start, for the grid start with a false start check, it could really make a lot of changes. It's all about what kind of traction control do you need to get off the line, because these are very powerful cars. They're going to light up those tyres very easily, so they're going to get that perfected. I know they've had a bit of practice, but but anything can happen. And even in these dry conditions, I found that the racing soft tyres, even when you put them on as you left the pits, they were still a little bit cold. So they'll have to watch as they go off the grid to see how they get on. But interestingly enough, some of the drivers are on the hard tyre. So Puma Racing map, Captain Slow. We've got Galana Bryn is showing that they're on the hard tyre. So are they going to use that? Are they going to go maybe use a shorter stint on the hard, or will they go a bit longer with that? But we'll have to see exactly how they get on. But it won't be long now before the race will be starting.
Yes, indeed. And I'm not sure if we had a slight problem at the start here. We're just awaiting the race start. Gilla has just confirmed a 30-second warning to the drivers now. So we're just awaiting the start of the race. But yeah, certainly the tyre strategies is going to become very, very important as the race is just about to get started. So yeah, this is certainly going to be a very intriguing race for sure, as I wait for the countdown to start. There we go. Right, okay.
On the grid, you can feel the tension building to get ready to start the race.
So 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. Lights are out and away we go, and Levitius is going to lead the train down the hill to turn number 1. Looks like he got a very, very good start, although Deaky on the inside, he got squeezed by JDJ, but Deaky just manages to hold off JDJ to be in second position for the time being, but JDJ will put him under all types of pressure. There's a slight bit of bumper-to-bumper action between JDJ and Wolfie for P3 and P4, but then we've got Richard just firmly behind in 5th position as well. Papaya Racer, I think, it's moved up a position actually into 6th, and then we got Latari Racing in 7th, Fish in 8th, we got Gilla in 9th position with Neil to 10th, and Captain Slow 11th, Puma Racing Mac in 12th, Whipperman and Kennels at the back of the grid. But it is Levitius who will lead the charge on lap 1 then. 6/10 of a second is the gap between him and Deaky in P2, and he has got a train of VSR drivers behind as well, really trying to inflict that pressure on Deaky. So will Deaky hold his nerve? And yeah, just looking at the tyres as well, the front 2, in fact, quite a lot of the front drivers on the soft tyres at the moment, so they'll be pushing like mad and trying to push the performance of them soft tyres as much as possible. It will be actually Fish who's the first driver on the harder of the compounds, on the racing hards, ahead of Gilla, also on the hard tyres. Puma Racing Mac on the hards, Captain Slow on the hards, Puma Racing Mac on the hards. I think Kennels is made up 1 position. It goes a little bit sideways through the chicane there, but he's actually on the soft tyres. He's made up a position on Whipperman, who is also on the hard tyres. But back to the top of the grid, and it is line astern for all the drivers, at least in the top 5. But how's it looking your end, Hugh?
Yes, there's been a few overtakes. I see that Wolfie has gone from 6th to 4th, so that's a good start for him. But as you see, there's a train of cars, and Deacon is beginning to put some pressure on Levitius as well, right at the front. And in fact, it's very close between Deacon and JDJ and Wolfie. So there's lots of action going on at the front, and at the back as well. As you see, we had Vars Vartavis challenging there with Latari, and also just a second ahead of Galara Bryn. So it's all to play for, with Puma Racing Neil up into 10th place. So yes, there's a few gaps between the cars towards the back, but at the front it's certainly pretty close. We're getting already these little trains, little groups of cars, but I'm sure they're just settling in on this, just the second lap of 29.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Deaky's certainly providing that pressure on Levi at the moment. The gap is within about a car length here. 3/10 of a second. There's yeah, went a little bit wide, but actually got a better run than Levi out of the exit. I don't think he's going to be able to send it on the inside for the chicane, because you definitely don't want to go too wide through there. So Deaky will remain behind him for the time being, looking to get the best exit out of the Coca-Cola curve. which he does, but so does Levi as well, and Levi has pulled a half a second gap to Deaky at the moment. Looks like he is favourite to remain in front with JDJ. He was looking to challenge Deaky just behind, but for the time being they are bumper to bumper with Wolfie as well, bumper to bumper with JDJ, but at the moment they are how they are, but I don't really see things changing for the time being. But what was that ooh and ah from you, Hugh? What was you looking at?
There was a slight bump between Deacon and Levi just at the first corner as they came in to start the lap there. It was a dust touch as they turned round the right-hander. I think Levitius is very quick on that last section, that last corner and that last chicane, but Deacon is very quick on that first corner, and that's where he's making up the time and closing the gap, and there was nothing in it. In fact, there may even have been a slight touch. I will check to see if Deacon's got any damage, but no, he's absolutely fine. So they're all quicker at different parts of the circuit. Look, it's closing up now. There's 4/10 between first and second, so Deacon is good through the Schumacher S's there, and then they come into this very tricky left-hander. They're going to carry as much speed as they can. But as you see there, this is when Deacon really closes up now, coming down to the back straight, that long straight with the right-hander halfway through. He builds up and builds up, but can he get close enough to try and make a move? It's a difficult place to try and overtake. There's not a lot of room there at the chicane, but that's where he definitely closes. Can he get a clean run through? It's very easy to lose grip there, but that was nice and smooth, and he is keeping up with Levitius as they come round the last corner to complete lap 3 onto the start-finish straight, not using too much curb. The 1 and 2 have gone a little bit wide there, but there is just 4/10 in it, and here we've got Deacon, JDG just behind Deacon, in fact looking to try and make a little move there, or just show him that he is there. Oh, and looks like there's another touch.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, a little slight brush of Levi's bumper from Deaky, but no damage. So just the smallest of touches. But yes, certainly this is a very intense start to the race here, Hugh, because yeah, we are talking about a second separating the top 4 drivers. So certainly not letting Levi pull away and you know, sit comfortably in the lead. So for the time being, it is how it is, but Papaya Racer, be interesting if he can catch to the back of Wolfie, who is just a second down on him in P5. Richard is certainly not going to leave him alone either in 6th position, just 0.8 of a second behind. And Latari Racing holding his own at the moment in 7th position, just 1.2 seconds behind Richard, but maybe needs to grab a few more tenths to get into that slipstream range of Richard, but definitely a big gap to the hard runners of Fish right now in P8. 7 seconds is the gap between him and Latari Racing. So Deaky looked like he got a good run out of the right-hand kink that was at turn number 13, but at the moment they are how they were, but Deaky is probably apart from the bumper to bumper, as close as can be going down the straight now. So can he get a good run on Levi and propel himself down the inside into the race lead? It's a well-timed braking from Deaky, and although Levi will come fighting back, Deaky holds it on the inside and into the race lead, but JDJ on the inside of Levi. Levi will have the inside line for the next turn to take that second position away, but certainly now that will be slowing down Levi as Deaky will be looking to start pulling away. JDJ is though looking rather competitive right now, as I struggle to get my words out there, but yeah, he's just 0.3 of a second behind Levi, with Wolfie as well providing that support in P4 as well. And yeah, Levi under all type of pressure right now. He's under threat of that second position. JDJ is not going to make life easy for him, Hugh.
My goodness, there was lots of sliding and touching. They're using all the dust and a bit more when they were coming out of one of the right-handers there. They all went quite wide. In fact, JDG's got a penalty. He's gone too wide at one of the corners, so that's he's going to have to pay for that, and that's going to allow Wolfie surely to come through, and that gives Levitius a bit of a sigh of relief. Can he pull away enough to give himself a bit of a gap? But it's very, very close. As you say, the first 4 are covered by just literally 1.6 seconds, which is absolutely nothing. And Papyrus is not far away either, just a few tenths.
Oh, he's had a bad
road.
run though out the chicane now, and there's VSR Richard taking full advantage up the inside and into 5th position. But yeah, certainly as mentioned, JDJ with that half a second penalty. So now it means that Wolfie really needs to try and close the gap to JDJ and then take full charge to try and catch up with Levitius in 2nd position. But so far so good for Deaky with that 0.8 of a second lead over Levitius. So really just important not to cut too many track limits really, or certainly the ones that matter anyways, because you can run a little bit wide out of that turn, but it's just important not to cut the curves, because that's where you will get the half a second and even sometimes a second of a penalty. So yeah, Deaky so far so good from him. 7 tenths is the lead over Levi. JDJ though is starting to lose touch with Levi. He has got that half a second penalty as well, so Wolfie should leapfrog his way into 3rd position, but the gap is now starting to develop between the VSR drivers and Levitius. Hugh.
Yes, it's certainly, I think, as you say, when JDG takes his penalty, Wolfie will be through. Wolfie's looked very, very competitive indeed, but they all run so wide as they come out of the right-hander, down the back, straight into the right-hander again, and then they come through. There's still about 0.8 of a second between 1st and 2nd, and then it's a bit of a gap to 3rd by one. It's about 1.3 seconds, but maybe they're just going to gather their thoughts and recalibrate and keep going. Now Wolfie now inherits the 3rd place after that penalty, and is he already starting to pull away slightly from, he's about 4 tenths ahead of JDG as they complete lap 6 and start lap 7. But as you can see there is a good gap, 1.8 seconds between 2nd and 3rd. Can they push each other on to get that gap back down and make this 1st to 4th in just a matter of a couple of seconds? But it's very, very close. Levi is continuing to put the pressure back on Deaky there for 1st place. They're not giving up the 6 tenths in it. It's all to play for, and I see that it was Lars Vardavis has had his pit stop. Latari Racing has also come in for a pit stop, and it looks like he's going on to the soft tyre. Will looking at, let's see if we have who has changed their tyres, and in fact Wupperman is in 14th, but he's quite a bit away. I'm trying to find
well, Latari Racing had damage. He had rear bumper damage there, and I did think he had come in a little bit early on them soft tyres, because we do predict that they'll be able to run about 12 to 13 laps on the soft tyres. So so coming in at lap 7, not ideal for him, but of course needed to be done, because you know, with the damage, of course makes the car a little bit slidey, particularly with the rear aero damage, but also as well would have been losing a lot of time down the straights as well, and more importantly losing lap Delta as well. So it looks like JDJ is going to get past his teammate around the outside. Wolfie lets him through, so JDJ moves up into 3rd position, but there is a 2.3 second gap between Levitius and JDJ. Levitius actually has fallen to about a second behind Deaky then, so Deaky's starting to pull away slightly here, but Levi, I think he's just about in that slipstream range, so Levi, you know, looking comfortable for 2nd, but also Deaky still in tow and in range for him to maybe start closing in the laps to come. But yeah, certainly a lot of support in chat at the moment, and just looking at, we've got Marmy in here, we've got Parquet saying it's getting tasty. It's certainly getting tasty, and Fred as well, welcome, and saying come on Puma boys. Yeah, Puma boys not well, I think Puma boys are on the hard tyres at the moment, so it is yeah, they're sort of further back, or they started on the hards, didn't they? And I think they just made the swap over to the soft tyres now. So Neil is the sort of furthest up the grid for the Puma drivers in 10th position, and we've got Mac in 13th at the minute. But at the moment, it is how it is. JDJ will be looking to try and close that gap. The tyres on them, soft tyres, are starting to wear down a little bit, though, just about halfway through the front tyres, and this is where tyre degradation does fall off the cliff, and the cars really do start to understeer through the corners. So JDJ will be aware of this and try to manage it as much as possible as he goes a little bit sideways out of the chicane. That's a second part of the chicane, quite difficult, particularly in these cars, because it does make the cars very unstable depending on how smooth you get on the throttle out of the exits. But JDJ so far still remains in third position, but that gap is starting to widen between him and Levitius. We've also got Richard as well, just behind as well, so he has closed that gap to the back of Wolfie now to half a second, with Papaya Racer still holding on to dear life with Richard, who is just 3/10 behind him now. So we've got a train of 4 cars that will be battling it out for the last step on the podium, Hugh.
It's fantastic, and it's interesting to see that those Nissans are still ahead of the Hondas, because they all say that the Honda is supposed to be a bit stronger in these races, but the Nissan is still proving that it can be very competitive, and of course it's leading in first and in second. But as you see, they're getting through their tyres. I'm looking at JDJ's tyres, and they are a good bit through, at least halfway through. He's got a quarter of a tank of fuel, so he's still got a good few laps that he can do at the moment, but they will have to come in. And when the pit stops happen, will they do an overcut or an undercut? What will we see them choose? Because that can make all the difference, because it's still in first and second place. It's just half a second in it, as Levitius is coming back at Deacon, as we've been watching the other cars. But this race is certainly hotting up. I think Levitius wants that victory back again, but can Deacon defend his first position and resist Levitius, who is right behind him?
Yes, indeed. I don't know if Levi is close enough to make a move on Deaky for turn 1 on lap number 10, but you're definitely right. He has closed that gap to within a couple of car lengths now. So Levi starting to come back into the race for the race lead, as the drivers are closely approaching the window to start changing their tyres. As I said, I think around about lap 12, maybe 13, depends on how much they've saved, really. I don't feel like the drivers do need to do too much fuel saving, but some drivers may do that, and it really just depends on what strategies they go on. Now, we did actually predict that there could be about 3 strategies that could be playing out right now. You could go for the one stopper and do roughly 16 to 17 laps on the hards, and then 12 or 13 laps on the softs. You could do the 2 stopper, which is the 12 on the softs, and
Levitius has retaken the lead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was a slight, he went on the grass. Deacon kind of slid onto the grass there, and Levitius has retaken the lead. But they're also coming up to lap traffic. Whipperman is in last place and is just ahead of Levitius. So they're going to come into. We've seen the blue flags waving, but Deacon is trying to come back on Levitius, but he managed to get through.
Okay, I've got a replay stored in the background to see exactly what happened to Deaky. So, but we're going to remain aboard with the top 2 drivers, because Deaky is within a hair's breadth away from Levitius. So, will he come challenging back? We've got a very close battle between P3 and P6. But it looks like Deaky for now is. Oh, Levi's lost it! Levi, he did really well to regather the car and keep it pointed forwards. But a scary moment from Levi there, as Deaky is now able to apply that pressure and really close in on Levi. Luckily for Levi, just about managed to keep control of that car to hold on to the race lead. But we're going to have a look on the replay now and see what happened to Deaky. So on the last lap then. Deaky was in front of Levi. And as you mentioned, may have gone a little bit wide, but they were very, very close in tandem. And yeah, he went wide actually. I'm not sure if there was contact there or not though, but yeah, it was a little bit netcody of what I could see there. But yeah, Deaky, unfortunately, yeah, sunk a tyre on the grass there, and that lost him valuable time, and Levi to take full advantage to take the race lead. But yeah, it looks like Levi has regathered his composure and has developed a 6/10 of a second lead over Deaky. But they're certainly looking comfortable for the top two, because the gap is 4.3 seconds between Deaky and JDJ in third position. But then Wolfie just behind him, about a second of a gap to Richard, who now dives into the pits from P5 then. Papaya Racer is going to move up into P5. We've got Kennels up into 7th position now actually, but he'll be coming into the pits very shortly with not too much fuel left on board that Nissan GTR. And then we got Vars Vartovis, who's already made the stop on the soft tyres. He may leapfrog Richard into well, it'll be P7 by then, so with Gilla on the same strategy as well, so he may get in front of his teammate. We'll have to wait and see. Where is Richard? Richard's just coming out now. So Kennels does move up into 6th position. Richard comes back out into 7th position ahead of his teammate Fish, who is about 4 seconds down the road from him in 8th position. Then we got Gilla in P9 and Puma Racing Puma Racing Neil in P10, with Captain Slow in P11 and Latari Racing in P12. Of course, had that damage, and we did actually miss what happened to him in picking up that damage, but being the rear damage, I would suspect that maybe there was a collision between him and another driver, but that is racing. But Levitius, yes, holds the lead over Deaky, and I do feel like they'll be coming in at the end of this lap, because them soft tyres are looking a little bit worse for wear, and it's going to be interesting to see what type of strategy they go on to. Is it going to be the soft, medium and hards, or is it going to be 2 stints on the softs and 1 on the hards? Who knows? In fact, they don't come in and they decide to go 1 extra lap. So I do feel like maybe they're going to do the soft, hard strategy, as we got JDJ and Wolfie coming to the pits from P3 and P4, with Papaya Racer then going a further lap and moving up into P3. And that means that Kennels is under pressure from Richard right now. Richard, of course, on them fresh tyres. Kennels on very, very worn soft tyres as he dives into the pits from 6th position, Hugh.
Yes, it's fantastic to see. This is when the strategy is going to play, and Kennels has come in to the pits with virtually no fuel at all. Wolfie has just finished his fueling, and they're on to the soft tyres. But as you say, Levitius and Deacon will be virtually running on empty, so they will have to come in any time now. But they were doing some pretty good lap times, even towards the start of the race. We're already into the 142s, low 42s, which is fantastic. So it's very, very competitive times right from the offset. Are they going to take a lot of fuel, or just enough? We'll have to see what kind of fuel rating that they've got. Oh! Deegan spun off! Deegan just spun off!
Yes, Deaky just spun off. Yeah, I was on board with him there. And yeah, that was a big moment from Deaky. We're going to have a look on the replay now and see exactly what happened. But yeah, that was a crucial moment in this race. And has he just handed the race victory to Levitius? As we go on board with the replay now, comes around their hairpin, goes wide onto the slippery AstroTurf, and that cost him, puts him into the wall with front aero damage. And yeah, he has now moved down into P3 then, with Papaya Racer now propelled up into 2nd position. So yeah, that is rather unfortunate. Obviously was pushing to the very maximum on very worn front tyres, and I did warn the drivers here with the excessive understeer that the car has on worn soft tyres, and that is exactly what happened there, Hugh.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely spot on. They just did that extra lap. Maybe if Deacon had come in a lap earlier, he may have been all right and avoided that. But now they're fueling up, they're back on. Well, in fact, Levitius has chosen the hard tyre. So he is on the racing hard tyre, so he is going to do that stint to see perhaps if he can avoid having to do another pit stop. Although looking at, in fact, he's got only a less than a quarter tank of fuel. So maybe he's just going to use the hard tyre for a very short period of time and then get back on the softs. But that means he's going to have to do another pit stop. Well, that is an interesting option. I wonder whether they've looked at that, thinking that that is the fastest route, because we know what Levidius is like on strategy, testing everything out. But yeah, that's going to be, he's going to have to come in again and either change those tyres and certainly get fuel, because we're not even halfway through the race and he's got hardly any fuel at all on board that car.
Indeed, and Deaky comes back on circuit in 9th position. He's decided to use the medium tyres here. So, he picks up a half-a-second penalty for cutting track limits, though. That is not going to help his cause. And, yeah, he is firmly behind Giller then with Giller. Giller's got front aero damage. So I wonder what's happened to Giller. To have caused that, but yeah, unfortunately with Deaky, he's just picked up that half a second, which he's going to have to serve at towards the end of this lap, so that is going to hurt him further. But we had a bit of a battle between Papaya Racer and VSR Fish for that 5th position as Fish tried the overcut on Papaya Racer. I will get on board with the replay now. So as they came into turn 1, as Papaya Racer was released on circuit, Papaya Racer did have 5th, but then they were battling side by side through the Mercedes arena. Papaya Racer had that inside line to hold off Fish and just nip in front to move into 5th position. So getting back on board, it looks like Papaya Racer has started to pull away from Fish, as Fish has got dying soft tyres right now, so the gap is widening every corner to about 2 seconds now. So we'll see how this has changed things in the race, because Levitius has got a 5.7 second lead over VSR Richard, who is now his new challenger. But of course, Levitius on them hard tyres. It remains to be seen how many laps he will be staying on them hard tyres and what tyres he does decide to go on, which I do suspect might be the soft tyres. But Richard, yeah, he should be closing the gap, because there will be a big difference in time between the hards and the soft tyres. I predict probably around the 1.5 to 2 second margin. But depending on how they drive, of course. JDJ is 2.5 seconds behind in 3rd position, who has developed a gap of a second to Wolfie in P4, and then Papaya Racer is a further 4.5 seconds behind in 5th position. So we are just past the halfway mark of this race, and things are certainly starting to develop, Hugh.
Yes, because it's looking like Levidius did about 13 laps on those soft tyres, so he's going to have to go an extra lap if he's going to come into the pits, or he's stayed out, so he will continue on, but he's going to have to come into the pits. I'd imagine, is he going to go for that soft tyre, because that will help to, he might just be able to do the rest of the race. But in the meantime, Richard is closing right up, and VSR Richard, he's on the soft tyre, but he's got a good bit of life left in that, and he's also got half a tank of fuel, so he could go quite long into this. So it might not be all plain sailing for Levitius. I have a feeling that maybe it could close up quite a bit, and keeping on the soft tyre, which is really a very fast tyre, is maybe a good strategy, but we'll have to see how it plays out. And of course, we did almost have lap traffic earlier on. Will that come into play again with the likes of Whipperman being at the back of the field, and will the front runners actually catch up? I think that the difference in lap time is quite a bit at the moment. So those laps, as we do more laps, that time is going to come down, and could we get some lap traffic coming into play with the race, that could really stir things up.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. It does look like the fight is between the top 5 drivers, though. We've got, of course, Fish in P6, but it looks like he's going to need to pit in the next sort of couple of laps, I think. We've got Puma Racing Neil up into 7th position, but again, similar fate for him, with a fast approaching Deaky now in 8th position, who of course made the stop a little bit earlier and chose the medium tyres. So I would imagine that Deaky is going to run the medium tyres until the end of lap number 28 and then go for one final lap on the hard tyres as Levi comes into the pits from the race lead then on the hard tyres. So it does look like he will pick the soft tyres for the remaining 13 laps of the race. So Richard provisionally moves up into P1 with JDJ up into P2 and Wolfie up into P3 with Levi's teammate Papaya Racer up into P4, and it looks like Fish is now going to get propelled up into P5 with it might be Levi in P6. All looks like Deaky's going to make a move on Neil to move up into P6, up the inside of Neil on turn number 1, who moves down into 7th position. In fact, Levi gets released on track into P9. I do forget that the pit lane loss is quite lengthy at Nürburgring, and we've predicted it's around the sort of like 27-28 second margin. So yeah, Levi down into P9, but he's already made all his stops now, and oh yeah, there was nearly contact between the two drivers, wasn't there? I think it was a late kind of letting Levi through from Captain Slow there. So Levi up into P8, but yeah, he won't need to make any more stops now, and it's just about managing that fuel and managing his tyres, but of course trying to stay consistent at the same time. But he has got 27 seconds between himself and VSR Richard, who currently leads the race, but of course we know he will need to make a pit stop, and also he does need to use the hard tyres at that as well. So Levi definitely in prime position right now, with JDJ 3.5 seconds down in P2 with Wolfie. Looks like they've been working in tandem for the whole race here. Wolfie's kind of like JDJ's support right now, as yeah, they're in P2 and 3 right now. Papaya Racer though, there's Whipperman. Why is Whipperman so slow? I mean, he did let Papaya Racer through, I suppose, but still didn't envisage him to go that slowly out of the pit lane there. But currently at the moment he is down in P14. Then we've got Deaky now up into P5. He's managed to escape the clutches of Neil by about 1.2 seconds as Deaky looks to try and recover his race and try to finish as high up as possible. But he does need at least a 4th, I do believe, to remain in the hunt for the championship win. But of course, yeah, it's looking very unlikely now that Deaky can really challenge Levi for the season 1 championship. But nevertheless, never say die attitude, I think, is what is needed from Deaky, because you just never know, do you? You just never know what can happen at a given notice. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, but for now he's currently in P5 for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, looking at the timing between Levitius and VSR Richard. So when Richard comes in for his pit stops, we're saying that we need about 27 seconds between to manage a pit stop. Now, Levitius is on those soft tyres, and in a number of laps they will have been, certainly the wear rate will be quite high. So although the Richard is on the hard tyre, we'll be seeing Levitius on tyres that will be quite well used. Now he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Richard hasn't come in, but he's only able to stay at just on that 27-second gap. So Levitius isn't really making that kind of inroad into Richard's lead at the moment. So it could be very, very close when Richard comes out of the pits. I think the strategy has been very good with both of these drivers, and I think Levitius is going to have to really look after his tyres very carefully, and also his fuel, to make sure that he doesn't he can't burn them out. Otherwise, when Richard comes out of the pits, it might be a lot closer than we think.
Indeed. Oh, it looks like Gillard is going to make the move on Captain Slow then to move up into 10th position. It looked like he got a much better run out of the exit of the chicane, and he looks like Captain Slow. I think he just let him through there, realised that Gillard had the better pace there. But actually, interestingly, both have similar strategies, so it's not a case that Captain Slow had worse tyres or anything like that. But yeah, very courteous from Captain Slow, I have to say there, but maybe looking at the bigger picture and maybe looking for consistency. But yeah, certainly, yeah, the gap is where is Levi now? Levi is 6th, so yeah, the gap is 25.7 seconds now, so that gap is really starting to close, and it really depends on how much fuel saving Richard has done, as opposed to sort of how much fuel he'll need to put in the tank when he actually decides to pit. But yeah, I'd say at least 27-28 seconds is the pit lane loss, and yeah, certainly Leviticus is within that now, 25 seconds as mentioned. His last lap was a 1 minute 42.3. Richard last lap was a 1 minute 43.5, so he lost a second there on that lap alone. JDJ as well, just looking aboard with him, so his times are consistently in the sort of 1 minute 43 range, but again, he will need to pit with Wolfie as well, who's getting very similar times, actually, 1 minute 42.9. Papaya Racer, I do wonder with him though, whether or not he will be introduced in the fight to at least challenge one of them 3 positions. The gap is currently 4.3 seconds, but he's lapping in the early 1 minute 43s right now. So and then Deaky on the medium tyres, of course, so he will be a little bit slower. But as the soft tyres do start to wear down, that's when the medium tyres starts coming into play. But right now, his pace is pretty good, I have to say. He is lapping in the 1 minute 43s. 43.2 was lap 18. Lap 19, 1 minute 43.9. So, you know, good pace from Deaky so far. But you can see now the gap between Deaky and Levi is 2.6 seconds. And Levi is the fastest man on the circuit right now with that 1 minute 42.018, which he produced on the last lap, Hugh.
Yes, you just, as we're looking at that there, I was trying to figure out if Richard came in now and put on the hard tyres, would he lose, you know, the least amount of time to Leviticus, because he'd come out behind them, because there's a good bit of time between Leviticus and Latari Racing for 6th and 7th. And as the others come in for their pit stops, then we'll see them start to inherit the lead, because it's certainly very close so far. But also just this battle coming between Deaky in 5th and Levi in 6th, because Deakin is on the medium tyres, but he's still doing pretty good pace. I don't know if Leviticus is just going to be able to cruise up behind them and overtake. I think it will take a bit more of that, and if they get held up, that could just allow Richard to pull off a great move, come in the pits, get that all done and dusted, and maybe even get out there onto the podium positions, maybe even further up.
Yeah, maybe. It's going to be interesting in the final 9 laps of this race, but certainly something that has been consistent is JDJ and Wolfie, because they have been literally bumper to bumper all race. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not team orders come into play here, or whether or not they will be duking it out for merit, really, in the final embers of this race. But yeah, certainly the gap is within a car length of each other. VSR Richards has been very consistent as well in the lead of the race, but yeah, certainly the gap between Deaky and Levi is starting to come further down, because the gap is now 1.5 seconds, and it looks like Levi is eating into that gap by just over a second per lap. 1 minute 42.826 was his last lap. Deaky's was 1 minute 44.0. So, as Deaky goes a little bit wiggly out of the exit there, he doesn't want to be making the same mistake as last time. But yeah, just about manages to keep control of the car there, as Levi really does eat into that gap. It is now down to 1.1 seconds. So I'm sure Deaky will be fully aware of this in the next lap or so, but yeah, and then there's a big gap, so it is definitely a tale of 2 halves really with this race. Latari is 18 seconds adrift of Levi and will need to make a stop probably quite shortly. Vartavis or Fish currently in 8th position, 1.5 seconds adrift with fresher tyres, so perhaps Fish will be starting to challenge Latari in the coming lap or so to try and steal that 7th position away from him. We have also got Neil in 9th position at the moment. He's also got them fresh tyres. I'd imagine, I think he's done all his pit stops now, so I think it will be with this tyre compound to the end of the race, so we'll see if he can propel himself up a couple of positions or not. Giller as well in the same predicament as well in P10, and Captain Slow not able to close the gap to Giller. Then it is about 2 seconds right now, and then it is how it's been all race really. Puma Racing Mac in P12, Kennels P13. Whipperman does look like he's kind of struggling at the back of the grid. 27 seconds is the gap between him and Kennels for P13 and P14 respectively. But yeah, we're just kind of awaiting now really how this is all going to change. But I do feel like with Levi, in fact Levi's already made the pass on DK to move up into P5 then, and we obviously saw that coming, but Levi is within 20 seconds of Richard, so it does look like Levi is going to have a very comfortable lead at the top of the leaderboards once Richard, Wolfie, JDJ and co do come into the pit. So I'm going to have a quick look on that replay, but I think it was probably just an easy pass from Levi and probably Deaky realising this as we go into the chicane. And yeah, do you know what, he just lets Levi through there. Literally just lets him through. Probably didn't get the best exit on the chicane, but nevertheless team orders lets Levi through to carry on with his race, Hugh.
Yeah, I think it's what I'm seeing is a lot of the drivers, if they can get these chicanes right and that first corner right, then there's so much time to be made, and that's what Levi is being able to do here, where he's getting these 142s, which is an incredible, that's the lap record here, so the fastest lap of the race by Levi at 142.018. He's managing to get the best exits out of these chicanes, and they're so tricky because look how flat these cars are. There's really hardly any ground clearance at all on them, so I think they struggle on the curbs. You're going to be very careful on the curbs, but Levi is able to make the most of that, and the top drivers are getting onto those curbs and it's not affecting the cars as much. They're getting the grip out of the chicanes, and they're that allows them to get a great time. And Richard has just come into the pits now, and he has put on, let's see, what tyres is he going to put on? He's got hardly any fuel left, so he's going to be filling up. Wolfie inherits the lead. He's 1.6 seconds ahead of JDG, but surely he will be coming into the pits. In fact, he's got hardly any fuel, so he might have maybe a lap or two left. But we're on lap 24, coming into lap 25, and Levitius is now up into 4th position, and he's 16.5 seconds off the lead, but of course he will get that back as the cars in front come in for their pit stops. But it's certainly all to play for here, and although Levitius should come out eventually in the lead, it might just be closer than we think. If Richard can get on it there, in fact, let's have a look. He's out of the pits now, and he is 21 seconds behind the first place. But let's have a look at Levitius. Is 16, so there's only 5 seconds in it. 5 seconds in it, because I think those will be the two drivers to look out for. Although Deacon is behind Levitius still, but he must come in for his stop.
Yeah, only 5 seconds, but Levi is on the soft tyres, Richard is on the hard tyres, and there is going to be a bit of a difference in pace. Even though Levi's tyres are, starting to wear now on lap number 24, but you would still expect Levi to start pulling away from Richard. Of course, Richard on the cold hard tyres as well, so it's going to take a while for them tyres to warm up. So I do envisage that the gap will start expanding, and in fact I've already seen it now. It's expanded by a second then, so Levi is within 15 seconds of Wolfie, who has just come into the pits now from the race lead, and JDJ who was in 2nd position. So that means Papaya Racer is the new provisional leader of the race on lap number 25. But there's DK, Okay, there's Levi now, who is going to inherit second position now. The gap is 12 seconds, but we know Papaya Racer is going to need to stop in the next lap or so. So Levi looking as comfortable as possible with a nearly 2-second gap to Deaky, who does still need to make that pit stop, remember. So it's going to be interesting to see where Deaky comes out in relation to all the other drivers, because of course he really if he wants to stay in the fight for this championship, he needs a 4th or better, and at the moment he's 3rd. He's only 5 seconds in front of Richard, so Richard of course has made all his pit stops, and also Wolfie and JDJ in P5 and P6 also have made all their pit stops as well, getting out on the hard tyres. So potentially Deaky could be down into 6th position once he takes his tyres on board, I think, Hugh.
Yes, it's certainly, yeah, it was so unfortunate he's had to make that extra pit stop, or it's just worked out with that crash earlier on that has really affected him, and you say has pretty much put him out of contention, and even though it might be a short stop, it's still going to be difficult. And it looks like as Captain Slow had a problem. I think maybe he's had a disconnection there. I just saw it flashing up. We may have lost Captain Slow, but in comes Papaya Racer for his pit stop, and that means that Levitius will take that lead as he comes round to complete.
Oh, JDJ's gone as well. Now that is going to be interesting, as we've got a fight for P number 7. Looks like Neil has got the well, I thought he had the inside line there, but it looks like Latari is holding off Neil for the time being. But that has changed things, I think, Hugh, because Kennels has gone as well. Oh wow. Okay, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Rich is left, Papaya Race is left. What has happened here? We're on lap number 25, 4 laps remaining. We've lost 5 drivers in this lobby. What has happened here?
And Latari Racing is in the pits, but is in 6th place. Now will Galara Brown, although he's quite a bit behind, will he make up any places? Yes, he has gone ahead into 6th place. Puma Racing Neo is in 5th. That was one of his best performances of the season so far, and Levitius takes the lead there, and he's 2.2 seconds ahead of Deacon, and Wolfie is in 3rd place, with Vars Vardavas in 4th, Racing Neo in 5th, Galara Brown 6th. Now, we were looking at, we had Deacon, and where is Richard?
Richard is gone.
He's gone.
Richard's also gone. We've lost 5 drivers, Hugh, which I don't really know how. Well, I don't know if that's an unfortunate thing. We have 5 retirements, or there's a rule if we have so many retirements in the race or disconnects in the race that they call back the race, even though I know we are like on lap number 26 here. It probably it is what it is, and we just continue on, but I've not seen that before, so it has changed a lot of things here, because basically Deaky, yes, he is up into P2 at the moment. He will need to make a stop though, so we'll see where he comes out, but he may come out in 4th position, because Fish does need to make a stop, and although it's looking rather unlikely that Deaky will still be in the fight to challenge Levitius at the top of the championship, but the championship will be hanging by a thread, because there's a chance he will get 4th position now. So
it's all to play, isn't it? All to play for.
Yeah.
As you say, because Vars Vardavas is 23 seconds behind first, but he's 11 seconds behind Wolfie. There's a chance, as you say, if Deacon comes in now, then maybe he can make something of it. But there's only 2 laps to go after this one, so there's not much time left. I just wonder, is Deaky thinking that he can just stay out? Because he has got fuel and he's got tyres. Yeah,
but he needs to get on the hards. That's the mandatory, isn't it?
Hard.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's to be forgotten, because you think he might want to get in and get it done now, so he can get back as quickly as possible.
Well, he is running out of fuel though, Hugh, so I'd imagine he will have to come in at the end of, well, I'm not sure if it's at the end of this lap, but certainly I don't think he's got enough fuel to last beyond lap number 28. So yeah, he may just do one lap on the hard tyres, and in fact he comes into the pits now. So there you go, comes into the pits now. He'll be going onto the hard tyres, so we'll see what that means for grid position, because Wolfie's just coming around the Coca-Cola curve for the last turn of lap number 27, with looks like a, in fact, Deaky might, sorry, I've miscalculated that, so Deaky might come out in third position, because there's Fish now. He's just coming across the start finish line. Hold on, does Fish need to make another pit stop, or is he done? I
thought he had done the hards, because he started on the hard tyre. So he's used the soft and the hard. Well, yeah, so he shouldn't need to do any more pit stops. Well,
nevertheless, Deaky does come out in P3 then, just under a second adrift of Vartavis or Fish. So Deaky is on them cold hard tyres, and then we've got Fish on what is very worn soft tyres. So if he is to stay on this tyre for the rest of the race, things could get quite interesting between Deaky and Fish, because the gap has come down to beneath half a second now. It does look like he is starting to close in on Deaky, and it looks like, even though them soft tyres are rather worn, does still look like they're a little bit, I was about to say a little bit more grip on them soft tyres, but Fish nearly lost control of his car there as the rear stepped out on him on the exit of the hairpin. But nevertheless, the gap is within half a second. And, you know, if he's a little bit smoother on the exits here, should start closing in on Deaky. Although didn't get the best run out of turn number 12 there as we approach the chicane. So it's going to be a bit nervy for Deaky here. He really needs to hold on to this third position. But it does seem like Fish at this stage, as he goes a bit deep out of the final turn there, and he's just allowing Deaky to push on forward again as we go on to the last lap of the race. So it's certainly going to be now biting times between Deaky and Fish for that last step on the podium. I will quickly have a look to see where Levi is, but he has got a commanding 14-second lead over Wolfie, who is in second position at the moment. But we'll keep on board with Deaky, and I'll keep an eye on where Levi is. Where is he? He's at the hairpin, so we will cut back to him before he comes across to claim the checkered flag. But yeah, you can see, look at the gap. It is down to about 0.4 of a second between Deaky and Fish. Can Deaky hold his nerve? Just about, but it's more of a case of can Fish not make any more mistakes and really cause a bit of tension to Deaky. The gap is still half a second, but here comes Levi then. I think we're going to have to remain on board with Levi, because he is just about to come through the chicane for the very last time as we come up to the last turn, and it's been a very, very good performance from Levi, and for the time being he is going to win the race here in round 10 of the SMA GT500 Championship at Nürburgring GP, and a very comfortable win it was in the end. But VSR Wolfie with an excellent performance from him. He's going to grab second position for Team VSR, and then it's Deaky who is going to get the last step on the podium just in front of Fish then, and it looks like Fish's tyres did give way in the end, and Deaky luckily was able to claim that last step on the podium. But a good performance there from Fish as well to finish in P4. Neil gets the best result of the season for himself in 5th position, and then we've got Gilla who will be coming home to bring home the 6th position, and looks like Latari Racing is going to grab, I think that's his best result of the season as well, to finish in 7th ahead of Puma Racing Mac, who's going to be the last person to come across the line, with Whipperman already being a lap down, finishing in 9th position. So yeah, very Very dramatic race here, Hugh, as we always come to expect in the SMA, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, a fantastic race. It's such a pity that we have the disconnects from 5 drivers tonight, because that really made quite a lot of changes. But it shows you, if you stay into the end, you never know what kind of position you're going to get. But a fantastic victory there by Levitius, showing us again that he is clearly in charge of that championship. And unfortunate for Dicky with that accident, because he was certainly pushing Levi for every bit that he could. But no, a great race tonight, and many congratulations to Neil. Puma Racing Neil, his best ever position of 5th place, which is great. But no, really another great race. It's exciting, and Dicky's just hanging on there in 3rd place on the podium, so we'll speak to him in a few minutes' time. But what the championship is, might be coming to a close, but it's certainly been very exciting tonight, and lots of action, lots of overtakes. So yes, a great race indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, like, just looking at the comments in chat, I mean, yeah, look, Kendall, you've got a very good point there. 3 of the front runners did disconnect, so you could say a little bit unfair. But, you know, this is the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You know, it is what it is, you know. You know, maybe more luck than anything, you know, people like Neil, you know, stayed in the lobby and you know, kept it consistent, and you know, fully deserves his 5th position. But anyways, let's run you down the provisional race results in round 10 of the SMA Championship at Nürburgring GP. So Levitius claims his 8th victory of the season and almost certainly secures the championship with that win as well, although not mathematically, but it's pretty likely it's going to happen with an excellent victory here, with VSR Wolfie claiming 2nd position. Another great performance from him. His championship is going from strength to strength, with Deke maybe fortuitously grabbing 3rd position and still in the fight for the championship. 4th position goes to VSR Fish with one of his best performances of the season as well, ahead of Puma Racing Neil with definitely his best result of the season, ahead of Gilla, part of VSR of course, in 6th position, and Latari Racing grabbing his best result of the season for 7th position. Puma Racing Mac, I think, might be his best result of the season. I may have to look at my notes there, but yeah, good performance from him. And then TNR Whipperman grabbing the last finish there in P9, ahead of Kennels Richard, JDJ, Captain Slow and Papaya Racer, that all disconnected and will be down as retirements from this race. So yeah, it's certainly been a very interesting race indeed, and very unfortunate for them 5 drivers who disconnected very late on there. But we are going to interview the top 3 drivers in Levitius, VSR Wolfie and Deke. So Hugh, let's get ourselves into the interview room now, and we'll start off with Deke with the interviews. Okay, looks like we've got everyone in the interview room now. Let me change over the scenes. There we go. So we're going to speak to Deke then, who finished in 3rd position. Deke, a bit of a emotional roller coaster for you, but how are you feeling?
Up and down, in terms of emotion. And obviously that spin wasn't ideal. But yeah, no, I think I got a bit lucky with the disconnects there. So now I'm happy to be on the podium.
Yeah, it was 5 disconnects, and 3 of them were in front of you. So certainly maybe a little bit of luck to finish in 3rd position, but good recovery from you. But yeah, talk us through that mistake, or that you losing control of the car there, because for a lot of the race there, you really took that fight to Levitius. You was leading the race as well. But yeah, tell us your thoughts in that given moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was behind Liam, and then I just coming out of the hairpin, I just, again, a bit too eager on the throttle, and obviously the tires were like on his last legs. And I was thinking I should have actually pitted the lap before. So I think if I pitted the lap before, I wouldn't have spun. But that's racing. So yeah, no, we learn when you learn. So yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and I can say because it's a bit complicated with the points because I know obviously the drop rounds come into play as well. I think after this round, after the next round, which will be the last round of the 2016 cars. So it's a little bit dependent on that. But I did try to sort of like work it out between all the points difference between first and 14th and stuff. Yeah, I did predict. I did actually work out that fourth position you did need to stay in the fight for the championship, and obviously you got third position today, so you are still in the hunt, even though the gap is still obviously quite sizable. But is it literally now or never, just push to the absolute maximum in the next race?
Yeah, definitely. Or like you said, the points is. Well, I'm still in the fight for the championship. So, but I think, obviously, the last race wasn't ideal as well. So I've come to terms that I'm probably not going to win the championship. So, yeah, I think, but for the future races, I think definitely still give it 100%. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good battle on track with whomever it may be. So yeah, no, I look forward to that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, like I said, very unlucky today. So, unfortunate, but I still thought it was a great performance from you. But Hugh, what are your thoughts? What are your questions to DK?
Yeah, I mean, you're really pushing so hard, and you took the lead early on in a great move. Was it just what happened coming out of that hairpin? Was it just a loss of traction? Because there are some very tricky sections here at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier on, the tires were on its last legs, and coming out of that low speed hairpin, this Nissan has a lot of low end torque, so you have to be very careful on your throttle application. And I just gave it a bit too much gas, and I just went into the wall, unfortunately. But now still happy to be on the podium.
Yeah. No, well, many congratulations for getting on the podium again, and for giving us a great battle so far this season. And hopefully in the last couple of races, we'll see you do well and take the fight till the Vitius. Although it's looking tough, but I'm sure you'll give it your all. And many congratulations for another well-deserved podium place tonight. For sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, DK. And, good luck in your next race. And, yeah, just really unlucky to you, mate. But keep pushing on. Keep fighting, and hopefully we'll see you right at the top again come next race.
Thank you. Will do. Cheers.
Thank you, DK. Take care.
Take care.
And then on to our middle step of the podium, second position for Wolfie. Congratulations, Wolfie. How are you feeling after that?
How's it, guys? No, feeling happy. It's a bit unfortunate what happened with the disconnects, because I think VSR as a team as a whole lost out a bit tonight, like we did last week. Richard, myself, and JD would probably have had a good battle with Chaz there at the end, but we would have placed well. So yeah, it's a bit for our team. It's a bit of a season of what could have been. But we work with what we have, and we deal with it on track, and we continue on to the next round. And whatever happens, we continue to get stronger as the season progresses. It's just these little disconnects and things is a bit of a hinder at the moment, but what can you do? You need to live with it.
Yeah, it's just the roll of the dice, really, isn't it, when it comes to the internet, unfortunately. But, in terms of your race, though, Wolfie, it looked like you was It looked like you had like a good strategy going on there. It looked like you was working in tandem with JDJ, I think it was, wasn't it? And it looked like both of you had like a very similar pace. But you know, how did you change anything in this race to what you might have done in practice, or did you very much go along the same lines?
No, I think we went for the safe strat. It felt like the GTR was a bit stronger on this track in practice, and we knew we had to keep in a slipstream in that first stint. Unfortunately, JD got a penalty there in the middle of the first stint, and we lost a slip, which wasn't ideal. But overall, I think we went with the safe strat. Well, I wouldn't say safe strat. We went with a decent strat. It would give us a chance at the end of the race to fight with the GTRs. I think overall, obviously, Levi and DK had excellent pace with the GTRs. I think we would have struggled to actually battle with them, but we were right in the fight there to place 3, 4, 5, VSR guys. So yeah, the disconnect was a bit bad, but we had a lucky strat. I had good pace. I was happy with my pace. It was weirdly though in practice, the wind changed just a slight bit in the direction, and I really struggled in qualifying. But once the race got underway, I felt comfortable, and I managed to put good laps together and get consistent laps. So was happy with that. And then at some point in time, I had a bit more pace than JD, and I went past, and I think that put me in a good spot to challenge for that third place overall, even if there wasn't disconnect. So overall, I think from I think I started 6th or 7th to 3rd, I'll take it. It's not a bad night's racing.
Yeah, you've certainly been making up the positions in recent times, that's for sure. And I was going to ask as well, because you mentioned about the wind, to anyone that doesn't really know out there, and obviously like us in the commentary booth, we're not always aware of how much the wind affects the cars. But tell us like how much that really does affect you in terms of driving on a lap-to-lap basis.
On these GR2 cars, it feels like it affects you quite a bit. But as you could see in the qualifying times, I mean, Levi did a 41.5 in qualifying, which is a spectacular time in my opinion. And the wind obviously didn't affect him. I think it's what you're comfortable with. There's certain corners in which I'm stronger than my teammates, and other corners where they are stronger. So the wind sort of felt like it benefited them a bit more in quali. And the corners where I was strong, I had a bit of a tailwind more. So I felt a bit disadvantaged in the quali. But once we got the race underway and I got comfortable, it was like the GR2 cars, in my opinion, is very much affected by the wind. The wind direction does affect the lap times quite a bit. But overall, yeah, it's a fun car to drive, and it was a fun race. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, you did really, really well, and really happy for you to grab that second position. Yeah, a little bit hard luck, obviously, for a few of your teammates that got disconnected, but nevertheless, you gained the advantage there. You grabbed an excellent P2, so congratulations to you, Hugh. Any questions at all?
Yes, for Wolfie. I mean, congratulations on a fantastic second place there. It really kind of shows you that if you're in at the end, you've got a chance to get a really good position, and you made the most of it there tonight. In fact, you had some great battles, really right the way throughout the race with JDJ for third place, and then of course going further up the grid as we came towards the end of the race. But what was it like driving in the Honda with the tyre wear on the softs and then on the hards? Were the hards, when they were kind of quite new, were they grippy at all, or was it quite dodgy?
The hards was quite dodgy. It was weird. I got much better times in practice with the hards, but I think once I knew the position, I saw the gaps. You just wanted to bring it home safely. You don't want to make a silly mistake at the end there and put the car on the wall with the hards. So the guards was a bit sketchy there at the end. Luckily, it's on low fuel, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, overall, the tyre wear wasn't too bad. I managed, for some reason, I managed to keep a hold of my tyre as well, and it helped me at the end of my stints to obviously keep my lap times consistent. But Yeah, well, I think the Norway wasn't too bad. It was relatively good. But happy with the second place, and I'm just that '08 Honda certainly taught me some manners, and I'm trying to search back on the leaderboard. So doing my best to get up there with the top guys.
Yeah. Well, many congratulations on a fantastic second place. And it was really enthralling battles tonight between you and
Thank you.
JDG. So many congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week
Thanks.
with more racing as we continue on with the championship.
Thank you so much, and congrats to Diki and Levi. Levi, as usual, well done.
Yeah, and sorry, I was going to ask one more question actually, because it's something that I realised actually is how tight the leaderboards are from, I think it was Richard all the way down to I think it was Giller in 7th position. So obviously this is really changed things in the leaderboards after this round. In terms of the next race at Daytona, does this favour the Honda drivers?
Yes, I must say I've got no idea, to be honest.
Okay.
Apparently the Honda's got a bit more top end than the Skylines, what I've taken of the comments from Levi in previous interviews. But I'll have to wait and see. It's weird, like I thought when we got into the 16 cars, it was going to be a stronger car than the GTR, but the GTR has really been proven to be a tough competitor. And the guys driving the GTR is doing a good job of getting results with it. So well done to them and all of the races. It's fun. Yeah, congratulations to all the guys in Pool 1. It's close racing and we enjoy it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, me and Hugh, I can speak for Hugh that it's been a fantastic championship. It's been exciting from race 1 to now, and I expect it to continue in the next week. So good luck to you next week, Wolfie. Congratulations on that second position, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for the excellent stream as always.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Wolfie. Take care.
Guys. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. And then on to our race winner, Levi, again. You've won your 8th win of the season. How are you feeling after that?
To be honest, I'm quite disappointed. Diki was flying on track, and we were kind of doing a bit of a strategic swap around a few times to save each other fuel so we can go and do 13 laps. That's what I thought. That's what I thought he was doing. And then the second time where I got past Diki, he let me by very abruptly, and I did not expect that. So we could have actually had a TNR disaster class and take each other out, which would have been very funny. But we did a good job. When I saw Diki spun, I was quite disappointed because honestly, he was pushing me a lot for a few laps. I was trying to save a bit more fuel, but then I realized, no, I can't do that. He's breaking the slipstream. I'm getting put under pressure by JDJ, who is also doing really well in the NSX, considering this was definitely a Nissan track out of the ones that we have raced at. And honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy we still got a win, but I'm really craving another battle like at Spa. Hopefully it's at Daytona we get that.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess my question to you here, Levi, is obviously, Diki really was on form today, and I was quite gutted to see him spin out. Actually, was there any moments where you felt worried that Diki just had that kind of supreme pace? Because obviously in quali, you obviously set the pole position time. It was a phenomenal time that you put in. But at some certain points of that race, it just looked like Diki had the upper hand. But was you always kind of in control? Before he obviously made that mistake.
To be honest with you, I was just basically when I basically indicated to Diki to go past me into turn 1 on like lap 5 or so. It was there just so I can get to 13 laps on the fuel. Because the slipstream gives you so much top speed and acceleration on the straights that you save a lot of fuel being behind someone. I wasn't really too worried. I knew that I could just stick with Diki with the slipstream, and then later in the race we actually would have done differing strategies, it turns out, because he went on the mediums, I went on the softs for another stint. It was quite interesting, and also the qualifying, honestly, if I had a bit more practice, I think it would have been a bit more calm during my quali session. But we had to fully send it in the chicane, and we luckily got a great curb bounce, so we definitely gained about. We weren't even purple coming out of the split, the third split, so we gained about 2.5 tenths just in that one corner alone. So we really sent it, and it did really help us. Yeah.
Do you not think that? Because I should have asked Deaky this question actually. Do you not think that him going onto the mediums was kind of forced because of that mistake he made, or do you know whether or not he always planned to go on the medium tyres?
I'm pretty sure he planned to do the mediums as well.
Right.
I honestly, once they had his accident, I literally just said I want to have like some people around me so I can overtake them, because I knew the buffer I'll have with being already like done with the hard stint, and I'm already catching up to people on the softs. I decided, okay, instead of doing the soft, hard, I was gonna do soft, hard, soft, so I can just see some cars, because it was gonna be quite boring if I just drove off again. But yeah, it's unfortunate that Deaky had his accident. But I think honestly, the mediums, like soft, medium, hard strategy was probably faster than the soft, hard strat, just because you did way less laps on the hards. You don't need one lap on hards. Yeah, it would have been close.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, big shame that moment from Deaky happened. But of course, you shouldn't be complaining, because that's put you in an even more dominant position, I would say, at the top of the championship. So congratulations to you, Levi. And Hugh, have you got any thoughts, questions to Levitius?
Hi, Levi. It's great to see you again, and well done on a fantastic race today. Again, we had some real battles, and we didn't realise you were swapping it round to try and preserve fuel. We were just kind of enthralled in the battle. It was very, very close between you and Deaky. It was so unfortunate that he had that incident. But it was certainly a race where you felt you were being pushed, which is good. So it's showing the competitiveness improving a lot, and it's always been good, but it's great to see that the drivers are improving. How do you see now as you come into Daytona next week? Do you think things will hopefully be wrapped up then for sure? But because I think it's just mathematically possible at the moment for Deaky to challenge. But have you found the championship so far as it comes to a close?
To be honest with you, at Daytona, we actually have been saying quali pace as per usual. It's been quite interesting learning about these cars throughout the season, since the BOP change came very abruptly just before the start of the GT500 season. We had to lock in our cars. What I've learned, at least now, the Honda is definitely the slower car in quali, definitely, by a couple of tenths. It varies on track-to-track basis. If it's more flowing track, the Honda will be much closer, or just on par. But in the races, the Honda still, even in this race, had better tire wear. It's about getting everything together. Obviously, racing in this sense is not easy, and they'll definitely have a slight advantage in Daytona with the less fuel usage that they have with the higher or the taller sixth gear. But I think we could still make an interesting race out of it. I'm just gonna basically go out there and race as hard as possible, because I want to try and win as many races as possible, and then see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, you've certainly enthralled us with some great victories so far, but some real battles. Were you at all a little bit worried or concerned at turn one, because it's such a hard corner, and it's such a big corner that so many people go for gaps there, but you managed to keep it clean all the way through. Were you quite impressed that there was no issues going through that first corner?
To be honest with you, we had a lovely headwind into turn one, which made us have a lot more grip than we usually would. So it gave everyone the confidence that they didn't have to worry about outbraking themselves, and if they did, they still had enough time to kind of react, because it's such a wide corner, and the standards have really vastly improved in the series. So I don't even look at my mirror and think, oh, someone's gonna hit me or something, because it's usually never happens. I did have a small tap from Deaky, but it's probably connection rather than anything else, because obviously he's on LTE while I'm on like fiber optic. There's gonna be a bit of a lag between us.
Yeah. Well, many congratulations for a fantastic victory, and we look forward to the next two races, and as we come to the climax of the championship. But well done for a great victory and for giving us a great race tonight.
Thanks, you.
Yeah, and I second that, Levi. I can't quite confirm you as champion of SMA Season 1, but it is very, very close, I have to say. So one more good performance from the next round, and you will be crowned champion. But your thoughts on Daytona? Is this a circuit that you feel you're going to be strong with in the GTR?
Well, definitely in qualifying. It's going to be very difficult in the race. It just depends on how the settings are for the race, because this thing really drinks its fuel in the last gear. So it all depends on the race settings. If it's a high multiplier, then it's basically just it's going to be the NSXs at the front and then the GTRs. But if it's a slightly lower multiplier, we might have a chance to mix it with them. It'll still be difficult to pass them because of the limited top speed, but we'll make the most of it. Yeah, and I also think of the strategy. The actual championship. I think I'm 4 points away from being champion. So I just need to score whatever that is. I think 12th, and then I get it. Yeah.
Well, you'll be praying not for a disconnect, because it's been happening a fair few times now to the drivers in the last couple of races. So we pray that you don't have that issue. But yeah, congratulations on today for your 8th victory of the season, and look forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Thanks, Lud.
Thank you, Lev. Take care of yourself.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so that is the thoughts of the top 3 drivers. I have kind of mentioned what is coming up for the next week, but let's take a look. Oh, and I've just done exactly the same thing as last week, where I clicked the wrong button. There we go. Next week we have got Daytona International Speedway, which is the road course, and it's certainly a very spectacular race course, and certainly a race course of speed. I certainly love it anyway, and I think it will be a slipstream battle for the Titans. But what are your thoughts, Hugh?
Yeah, under the Floridian sun. Yeah, Daytona is always a great race, a great track to race on, and I'm sure these GT2 cars with their great downforce will be spectacular, especially that turn 1 when they come into that tight left-hander. They've got to brake at the right point and make sure they don't hit the wall or run wide. It's a great track, very, very challenging. It's quite bumpy, it's undulating, it's really meant for the spectators. They get a great view, and I'm sure we'll have a great race. But yeah, it's all to play for. The last 4 points. Will Levi collect those next week and claim his title, or will something else happen and mean that it will go on for another week? But yeah, looking forward to a very, very tough race, I think, at Daytona. It's always hard, it's never easy there. You've got these very fast chicanes as well as they come off the oval parts of the circuit. So it's going to test our drivers to their limits, but I'm sure we'll be in for an enthralling race as we come towards the end of this championship.
Yes, indeed, and make sure you pay close attention to the SMA Discord for all the race details, and then tune in next week for race 11 in the GT500 Championship on this very channel, the Sim Motorsport Association, on Monday the 21st of April at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time, to see how this one plays out. And then also as well, please do follow our socials to keep up to date with everything on SMA, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or on our Discord, as well as our live platform, YouTube. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to help out on the YouTube algorithm, and interact on the comment section as well. And it'd be nice to hear or read your thoughts, and interact with us. Make sure the bell is enabled so you don't miss any of the racing action. And if you also want to get involved in these leagues in the near future, particularly the MSA Cup coming up in June, then please do make sure that you go through our Discord. The link should be in the description below. We've got over 170 members in our community, so make sure you do follow the links in to how you actually actually acquire your pro license for the MSA Cup this season. Also, big shout out to the SMA admin crew for their always hard work in the background, keeping this league running like clockwork, and certainly don't get enough credit in keeping everyone organised and up to date with everything in SMA. But also as well, now Hugh, I did see a message from you today about the driver interviews. So normally it's every Thursday on Hugh Hatrick's YouTube channel, where he gets to interview the stars from SMA. But as far as I'm aware, it's not going to happen this Thursday, so it'll be the next Thursday, I think. Yes, but Hugh, tell us a little bit about these interviews and what will be coming up in the next show.
Yes, we're going to be doing Tier 3 a week on Thursday. Now, the first two that we've done have been fantastic. If you've missed them, make sure you go back and watch them. In fact, they've been trying to see which tier is going to have the most views on our YouTube show. But it's great fun. If you're involved in Tier 3, you're welcome to join our channel, to join the YouTube channel there that we do on stream. And we'll ask you about how you got started on Gran Turismo 7. What is your kind of sim racing career? What are you thinking of the championship? And we get great responses. It's very relaxed. It's a lot of fun, and we don't put anybody on the spot. Even Robin, we let him away with that as well last week. But no, we had a really, really good time. It's just a good bit of fun to give your opinions of the racing, of sim racing as well in general. And yes, there's the odd question from the chat to keep you going and to make sure that you're listening very carefully. But no, it's great fun, and we've had a lot of viewers watching, which has been fantastic. So come along a week on Thursday, and we're doing Tier 3. It will be 8:15 East African time. It's 7:15 UK time, and we look forward to interviewing the drivers and having lots of fun a week on Thursday.
Yeah, I have to say, Hugh, it was a lot of fun watching you interview the Tier 2 drivers, one of them being Robin as well. It was nice to see them put on the spot and really find out everything about these drivers outside of the racing, as well as all the racing in SMA as well. But yeah, it was a great job from you, Hugh, and I really enjoyed it. And for those that are wondering, definitely go and check out the Hugh Hatrick channel on YouTube. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button for him as well, and definitely enjoy the questions that Hugh will be throwing out to the SMA drivers. And we do plan on interviewing all the tiers as well, so everyone gets a crack at the whip. But yeah, definitely look out for that one coming up in a week's time. Yes. So,
what a race!
What a race! Yeah, fantastic race. Sorry, I was trying to switch over to the overlay there. So, brilliant race. Hugh, any drivers that might have impressed you, or maybe your driver of the day?
Yes, I mean, Robin had said in the chat there that he reckons that Levi was the driver of the day, and again, he just made it work. And he pulled away a very dominant victory in the end by nearly 15 seconds it was. But it was great to see the racing. A big shout out to Neil. What a fantastic result. 5th place for Neil, his best result of the season. And Wolfie was 2nd place as well. And really good battles right the way through the field. Different strategies. And this is a really hard circuit. But it showed what people can do, what the drivers are able to achieve. And the ones who were absolutely on it gave us a great race tonight up at the front there. And it's a challenging track, but our drivers are doing us proud, and many congratulations to them all. They've given us some great racing. Such a pity about the disconnects, but hopefully it will be more reliable next week and the rest of the season. But a fantastic race tonight. We've really been enthralled by some great overtakes and very clean racing, really clean racing, which is really the mark of the championship, and I think something that stands out. They really are leading the field there. Gran Turismo can be very proud of such a server like this, such a lobby like this, and a community that are able to give us really clean racing on a regular basis.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. And big shout out to Neil, as you mentioned, Hugh. Yeah, it was a fantastic performance from him. Grabs his best result of the season, and a few others as well. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate with the disconnects that we had today. May have looked a little bit different had they have stayed in the lobby. But my driver of the day, I don't know, it's a difficult one. Obviously, Levi was pretty much faultless in that race. Maybe just as a different opinion, might actually give it to Wolfie though, because it's good to see him up there and really trying to sort of take the fight to, I would say, the top 3 of the championship. So really good result for him, and he's my driver of the day. Just looking in the comments in chat as well, Sir Mags said that he's got his questions ready for you, Hugh. So be afraid, be very afraid.
Well, Samara was very kind and said that I would be able to take on the Tier 1 drivers and teach them a lesson. But my goodness, I'm 3 seconds. I'm going to have to try again on the Nürburgring in that Honda, that Group 2, and I'm going to see if I can get into the 44s or into the 43s, because at the moment I can only do a 45. So yes, that's what I'll be doing at some point this week to try and raise my ego slightly. But no, it's great to see everybody in the comments asking questions, making these supporting their drivers, and it'll be great to see them on the stream as well next week and a week on Thursday when we interview the Tier 3 drivers.
Yes, indeed, yeah. But remember, though, Hugh, that pace will come. You know, you just got to get used to that wheel, don't you? So I'm sure you'll be, with that direct drive wheel, you'll be amongst the very top drivers in no time.
Well, I'm not too bad on race A and race B. I've done all right. Definitely improving on the slower cars. I need to work on the quicker cars.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, the longer the better, though, because at the moment I hold that advantage. But I'm sure, you'll be beating my times in no time.
Only if I put diesel in your car, Mateo. I think that's the only way I'm going to beat you. But that was the one. But no, it's been fantastic. A great race tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed commentating it on with you, Sean, tonight, and I'm sure the viewers have enjoyed the race. And we're really seeing a high caliber of racing talent in the SMA Championship. South Africa's top drivers competing at their very best and giving us enthralling racing. So we look forward to seeing you all next week. And it's a pleasure to be part of the SMA GT500 Championship.
Thank you, Hugh. So yes, it was Levitius then who reigned supreme once again, and it looks like he's nailed on to win the championship of the SMA Season 1. But we'll see whether or not he can do it on merit and bring home the championship. But make sure you do tune in to find out next week, same place, same time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time on Monday, the 21st of April, to see how that one plays out at Daytona. But until then, it's a good night from Hugh.
Good night.
And it's a good night from me. Stay safe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.